So I'm gonna finish up my tattoo a little bit more. I started it. Hang on. Boop. I started it. It's just like swirlies, and then I'm trying to make it look like a wave. So I'm getting there. It's a process. I mean. Oh fuck. Oh, okay. Luckily, I didn't spill that on the electric part of my machine. Okay. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so I did start it earlier. It looks alright. Looks alright. I'm gonna take you through my setup a little bit. It's not as ghetto as it looks. It's a little ghetto, but it's not like. I keep everything as clean as I can. I like to reuse. If I did something earlier, I want to do it again. And I got my gloves. And yeah, we gonna find out what the F. So take these things off. Sick of that. Oh. Here. So I don't really know what my YouTube is doing, but the chat doesn't seem to be working. So I think it's just doing its own thing. Okay, and my work was time. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi guys. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay. So basically, I am finishing up my tattoo today that I started. My setup is basically just as sanitary as possible, but still like immensely ghetto. Not so ghetto that it's going to give me an infection, to the best of my knowledge. But, I'm working with what I got. I don't have a table. So I'm just using the top of my kit. So, I'm really heavy on I know this looks dirty, but it's not, okay? So I'm really heavy on putting Vaseline in a little baggie and then snipping a corner to the tip. I don't know what I just said. Hang on. So I'm assuming that's a game. I haven't played it before, but I do really like to play. I play Resident Evil. I really like Witcher. I like Uncharted. I like. What else do I like? It's been a minute. I don't have a TV. I don't have a TV right now. But yeah, anyway, so I like to just put Vaseline in a little baggie, and then I will dribble it on the tray. Wow, that's like the worst word I could have used, right? I'll throw it on the tray, and then I'll put the little capsules on it and fill them up. So then, I don't have I won't have a glob of Vaseline just sitting out on my tray. I think that's so unsanitary. So, alright, I'm gonna clean it because I did fuck with it earlier. And, I'm really thinking about, so I'm trying to do a wave, but, I don't know how good that's gonna go. Because, there's just not, it's just not like the amount of space that I might need in order to make one. Yeah. Hmm. So anyway, I have a design. And it's just, hi guys, welcome in y'all. I have a design, and it's just like little swirlies. It's just a bunch of little swirlies, and it's kind of looking a little 70s, right? If you can see it, it's a little bit 70s. I really dig it. It's like so, um, it's so far out. So far out. Okay. So yeah, I was initially gonna do a pink and blue wave, but like it seems to be that there isn't enough space for that. So we're gonna try to figure something else out, and I think that I can work it just fine. I think I'm gonna be able to work it just fine. Okay, so yeah, that's not gonna work. Hang on. I think I got Vaseline on it. Like, oh, okay. I'm gonna freehand it because I think there's Vaseline on the pen. Here's the thing about how this looks. I know this doesn't look good, but I I I actually like already did the tattoo earlier, so it's I just like left all my stuff out and I covered my ink for later, but it looks dirty. It looks dirty, I know. But it's not, okay? I kept everything clean. I kept everything like where it needs to be. Um, and I shaved my leg too. I shaved the part that I'm going to be doing. That's really important because if you are shoving a needle into a hair follicle that that has already grown hair out, then you're essentially shoving the hair back in. You're essentially shoving the hair back into its follicle and then just causing an infection. Yeah, so let's see what I can do. I'm gonna throw some motherfucking ooh! She's raw, man. I think this is gonna look baller though. I'm gonna be real. Okay, so all you got to do, you just throw, excuse me, to keep the needle, to empty out the chamber of the needle, you just put it in some water. And I'm not a professional, but I'm like, you know, I'm experienced. So I remember, oh my gosh, okay, so I didn't feel the need to talk about this earlier. I didn't want to talk about it earlier. But I remember back in the day, oh, son of a bitch. I had an apprenticeship because basically, like, the easiest way to say it is that I was fucking a tattoo artist. So, and I wasn't like, it happened one time. It happened one time, but we were like flirting. We were flirting, and then like, it just like led to that. So, I didn't do it for the benefit, but it just happened the way that it did, and I think he gave me the spot to like take control, like to control me essentially, on some narcissist type stuff. And what had happened is that when I first got my machine, this is just literally a story about like when you're trying to succeed and people don't want you to. So when I got my machine initially, I did like I tattooed my foot, and then I sent a picture of it to him, and he got so mad at me. He told me that I wasn't allowed to tattoo outside of the shop, which doesn't make any sense because if I'm a beginner and I'm learning, then it would be so much more unsanitary to only do it inside the shop, is what I'm feeling like. Um, yeah, I just wanted to cover that real quick. Oh, ew. Hmm. Yeah, I think I can really pull this off, but it's just gonna take a little bit of brain power. Okay, so as far as I know, I'm done with light pink. Um, and we'll move on to the darker pink. So, I don't know. I'm kind of just like living my life. I'm really just living my life. I'm gonna be so raw with y'all right now because I just walked away from my last job and I've been trying to get a job since. I got one lined up, but ow, but it's like it's taken a minute, because I'm still like literally in the 70s where you could just get a job the day that you go out and look for a job, and it shouldn't be this difficult. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, mind you, but it seems to be that way. I think I'm gonna make this look really good because I said so. That's why. Yeah. I know. Oh, I already like that. Yeah. So anyway, I I'm really proud of myself for how far I've come because throughout the trials and the tribulations of everything that I've experienced, it's you know, I've insisted to hold my sanity regardless of how much I didn't want to because it was so heavy. Sometimes it was just so heavy to hold it. And I feel like it's really normalized that we have to like essentially be somebody that we're not because if we're not okay, we have to really just keep pretending. So it's like, how long do we have to like play that facade? And I suppose that if you're really good at playing the facade, you can essentially play it for your whole life. which is really disheartening because I've lost a lot of people to it. You see people that lose their friends to trigger warning, but they lose their friends to drugs and to alcohol and to abusive relationships. And while I have lost a few to abusive relationships, maybe mentally abusive, I have lost most people to, you know, the overworking yourself in order to fit into society's standards. So it's like sometimes, it feels like just yesterday that I was like sitting at the Riverwalk with my best friend and asking myself when, the last summer would be that I experienced that. And I think that was the last summer. I think that was the last summer that I experienced, a really good one with my best friend because I lost her to, you know, I lost her to, this sucks to talk about, but I really want to, um, yeah, I lost her to just her, like, trying to, I guess you could say, like, trying to achieve the male gaze, really. Trying to, like, trying to be, like, the person that a man needs, I suppose. And, like, within that, she, like, had 2 kids, and, like, I never saw her after a certain amount of time. And so, yeah, I'm talking this girl was, like, from another mother type stuff. And, uh, it really be your own people because she was like somebody that was very similar to who I was as a person, and then she just slowly fell off and became somebody that I didn't really even recognize anymore, which is one of the most painful things that you can experience because excuse me, um, because many of us experience heartbreak, and many of us are going to. Many of us are regardlessly going to experience heartbreak within our life. But to experience a type of heartbreak that correlates to, the person that you thought you had after you got heartbroken by your significant other, that's just a whole different kind of hurt. Yeah, I think I'm digging this. And then I think I'll do like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit them. We'll see, we'll see. Um, yeah. So I don't need this. Hmm. All right. So then what I'm gonna do? I don't have a spray bottle. I just have a dish of water. I put soap into it because I don't have the cleaner I'm supposed to or anything. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, you ever just go so long in your life, like experiencing lack, that you like get good at it. You get really good at it, and then you kind of don't know what else there is anymore. It's really hard to come out of surviving in order to thrive, because I don't even like remember what it's like to, like love another human being, um, which is crazy because I love myself so deeply, but the thought of loving somebody else is like, I don't know if I can handle that, you know? Like, I know I will eventually be able to handle it, but it's just, it's something that I'm gonna have to work up to. So, yeah, what I was saying is that, like, it is really hard to go so long and know so little and simultaneously lose so much. You just get so good at losing that losing becomes your game. Like, you get so good at, taking rejection, which is better than not being able to take it at all. But, there's gotta be a line, because you gotta win sometimes. You gotta win sometimes, and people say that you can't win them all, and that is true, but you gotta win some. You gotta win some, because it gets a little monotonous to just lose all the time. To just be okay with it all the time. Because, like, just kind of feeling like you'd be asking too much if you won once a year. You know what I mean? Which is so far from the truth. Yeah, so, my style of tattoos are very whimsical and, like, super playful and super girly, kind of. Like, they can be a little girly sometimes. Yeah, so I think just, like, back to what I was saying about getting used to, like, losing. Because you might spend a really long time trying to convince yourself that it's okay to, like, you know, not have what you need. But, like, having what you need is what makes life so much easier to live. I guess that's pretty self-explanatory, but what I mean is just the fact that, like, uh, when you get too good at losing, it kind of just becomes like a paradigm. like a paradox of just like losing, 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 and then you like, excuse me, you subconsciously attract situations that you will losing. So it's like, okay, well now I guess I'll just go home and blah 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 blah. But it really doesn't have to be that way. Because we're kind of taught that, like, if you're not going to be greedy, then you have to be just good at losing. And to get so good at it that you associate your personality with it is losing in itself. So sometimes you gotta get to the point where you're okay with winning just a little bit. Because I know from personal experience that I'm not really okay with losing all the time. You know, and then I tell myself that I ought to be grateful for like even the opportunity to lose at something. But I'm just so unhappy. I'm just so unhappy, and I always feel like I'm not getting the fruits of my labor. I went a really long time telling myself that I'm miserable because I'm like a bad person, and well, I'm not. So I learned that the hard way. I feel like when you're minding your business and you're like doing your best to just be your own person, people like people want you to mind their business. And then when you do, like, they make you feel really bad about it. Yeah, I think I like this, and I think I'm gonna stop fucking with it um, until I don't like it. Hang on, actually. Hold that thought. Yeah. Yeah, so I just kind of feel like throughout my life, like I've always had somebody to make me feel like I'm less than them. Always. And so then I got to the point where I finally said, like, I'm my own person regardless, and I kind of insist on loving myself. And like the day that I really stood for that, I just started losing people like in a row of dominoes. I just started losing. Excuse me, losing. So then I was blaming myself because I was like, well, I made the conscious decision to like love myself in the first place. So I'm probably a shitty person for like loving myself at all. Um, because everybody around me absolutely friggin' can't stand themselves. So, who am I to love myself? But the answer to that is that you're you, because you're a lot more you than the people who don't know themselves and refuse to learn themselves. Um, out of not only ego, but out of, just the hatred that they hold for themselves and the resentment for, maybe not doing something sooner or maybe not following their dreams. But it's like the longer that you hate yourself for not following your dreams, the more time that you're spending on not following your dreams. So isn't that a double negative a little bit? Yeah, I think so. Ow. Yeah, so I mean, sometimes I just sit with myself and start to go down a rabbit hole of like everything that I might have done wrong and everything that, made me this way and all of the reasons that I'm not, gonna be enough for anybody ever. But then I got to the point where I can like relatively quickly pull myself out of that perspective. Oh, and then the quicker that I can pull myself out of that perspective, the quicker that I can see that like I'm doing everything that I can with the resources that I have been given. And within that, it's a double edge because the resources that I have been given were from an environment that was built on lack specifically. So I'm working with lack, trying to create something beautiful and trying to build, a stable foundation of success when I was never taught it. And like no blame, like I definitely wasn't taught it, but I wasn't like showed it. So it's really hard to like manifest something that you literally just don't know. Because, I'm really good at manifesting the fucking androgyny, that's the word I'm hearing, and like the self-deprecation and the this and the that, but I'm not necessarily good at like being so okay within myself that the thought of like a successful future makes me happy, because like part of me just doubts it so immensely because of the environment that I grew up in. And so then like I'm always thinking about like the environment and what it taught me, and to basically like to basically fight all the time. And then when you don't have anybody else to fight because you fleed all of the toxicity, then you just like, what, are you gonna fight yourself all the time? And you will. And you will. And you friggin' will too. So yeah, you just start to blame yourself because, the environments and the relationships and the toxicity and the just, greed and bleak environment in the barren ground. You just left it, and then you're like, oh, well, you know what? When I was there, like I had somebody. There was another person in the house. Okay, well, the problem about that is that when you're around somebody or when you live with somebody that makes you unhappy, then you still have somebody in the house that, you feel like you can't trust. So it's like, yeah, you left that and because you didn't feel safe, and now you're in an environment that you don't feel safe because you're alone all the time. But like, you don't have to fear the other person in the house. You just have to kind of think about what's outside of it. So now you have your own space that like you feel like you have the right to like live in, you know, and maybe you're not necessarily in an environment that you feel like, you know, you're thriving, but to just have that little like head start of knowing what you're supposed to feel is a huge part of actually feeling it in the future. Um, because yeah, I mean, maybe your environment that you're currently experiencing wasn't specifically designed to make you happy, and like I'm so big on that because like no matter what I do in my current environment, I'm not thriving. I'm not thriving, and I'm fucking working my ass off for it. And like I'm a job hopper, so like I'm always somewhere. And then when I'm not somewhere, like I'm reflecting on, you know, why it didn't work. And then I realized like there's no point in guilt tripping myself about what didn't work because it didn't work. So why am I gonna sit here and say, oh well, if I would have just stuck it out for another week, if I would have just stuck it out for another month. Okay, think about how miserable you were, and then like compare that to how miserable you'd be now. So it's like there's really, I mean, you just can't hate yourself for things that you didn't do. Like, you know, I meant to get my taxes in sooner so that I would just have that. And it's like, then I'll slowly watch myself like guilt trip, you know, my decisions. But it's like, you know, maybe it happened for, and aside from it happening maybe for a reason, I just didn't do it, okay? So it's like, there's no point in thinking about what you didn't do and then guilt tripping yourself for it because you didn't do it. So it's like, or maybe guilt tripping yourself for something you did do. Like, it's over, you did it, so what are you gonna do to like feel like a human again? What are you gonna do now, you know? Yeah, I friggin' dig it, guys. Oh, friggin' dig it. Oh. So basically, it's, let me flip this. Yeah. It's so swirly. It almost looks like fire. But it's like a love potion. It was supposed to be a love potion, but it's kind of not looking so much like one right now. It's looking a little bit more like a 70s potion, which I'm okay with because I really like the 70s pattern and all those things. I'm really into the swirlies. So yeah. Yeah. So I will do another live when I go to color in the rest because I still got to do the metal and I've got to do the moon. I'm thinking about doing the moon and ombre, but I'm not really sure. But I'm going to do these yellow. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day.